Okay, the next dinim we're going to learn over here is the dinim is called Tvilas Kalim, immersing vessels into the mikveh. Now, there's an argument in halacha if it's biblical mitzvah or rabbinic mitzvah. Some people learn it out from Midyon. The Torah says that you have to put it tavir b'mayim, you have to put it into the water. Other poskim say Tfilas Kalim is only rabbinic. Now the reason for Tfilas Kalim, why do you have to immerse Kalim in the mikveh? So it says in Yerushalmi, and the Taz brings down, because you have to take it out from the impurity of a non-Jew to the purity of a Jew. Want to lock it.
We're going to lock it. No, someone knows the code or something.
Change the code.
It's set on a timer. It's not okay.
Okay, anyway, so what's the simple difference halachically if you're allowed to table dishes if it's rabbinic or biblical? So the answer is if you're allowed to do them, if you're allowed to immerse dishes in a mikveh on Shabbos. If you hold that biblically you can use the dishes, it's rabbinic that you have to do it, so then you would be allowed to table dishes on Shabbos. Why? Because you're not fixing anything. If you hold it's biblically forbidden, the mitzvah is biblical, so then biblically you're not allowed to use those dishes until you put them in the mikveh. By putting them in the mikveh, you're making something unusable usable. That's called the malach of tikkun mana, of fixing a broken thing on Shabbos. If you hold it's rabbinic, so then you would be allowed to, because biblically you could use the keli. It's just the rabbis came along and you said you have to, so it's really a keli without it. But the halacha is that Tfilas Kalim is biblical, and therefore you're not allowed to table dishes on Shabbos, even though say you have a mikveh in your house or in a shul, whatever. You're not allowed to table dishes on Shabbos, because then you're actually fixing the dish which was unusable to usable. Now there's a lot of dinim which is biblical, even according to those opinions. For instance, metal is biblical, glass would be rabbinic, something which is wood does not need to be tabled, something which is earthenware, kli cheres, does not need to be tabled. But let's say it's glazed, let's say you have normally a ceramic mug, a ceramic plate. So the reason why there's a shine to it is because they glaze it with glass afterwards. So if you have a ceramic dish, a ceramic mug that is not glazed with glass, so then you don't have to table it. If it's glazed, then you have to table it. Okay, so therefore that's a lot of differences in this din. Now in order to immerse, we're coming to those things soon. What? Well, we're not there yet. Now, the mikveh that you need, which is kosher for immersion of vessels called Tfilas Kalim, has to be a mikveh which is kosher for women to immerse in for nida. In other words, for a man, what's called mayim she'uvim, natural drawn city water, that's in like a swimming pool, okay? It's in a vessel, so to speak. And it's in the ground, it's connected to the ground. So then, that would be kosher for a man. For a woman, it wouldn't be kosher. So the thing is, you need to immerse the dishes and the kelim that you're immersing in the water. You need to be a mikveh that would be kosher for women to be able to table in. So even some rivers or lakes, if for instance, if they're man-made, they're not kosher to table in. If it's natural lakes, then you assume it is. Rivers that dry up, sometimes during the non-rainy season, the rivers dry up, again, they're not kosher. So there's a lot of, you have to know, Tfilas Kalim, it has to be a type of mikveh that would be kosher for women to immerse in, and therefore, you have to be careful with this. What?
This is a reservoir that fills up
Yeah, but how did it start?
It was man-made.
Man-made, so then it's a problem because,
No, I'm just saying that it fills up with rainwater.
yeah, but how did the initial water get in there?
Man-made.
So then it's not kosher.
So if you just dug a hole in the ground and the water, the only thing you rely on was rainwater, then that would be kosher.
If you have 40 sa.
Yeah. Let's say you had 40 stuff. So how's this different? Because
1 minute, if you have a hole in the ground, first of all, the water's not going to last there.
I'm saying you dug a concrete pit in the ground, whatever.
If you dig a concrete pit in the ground and rainwater, like the rains we had this winter, would have filled it up, yeah. That's how they make them. Now they have in many places tefillas kelim mikveh. Yeah? There's Robertson and LeBron, whatever, the different places they have them, yeah, in the city. So, what do? They fill it up with rainwater, okay? And that's it. They never change the water. Can't change rainwater unless it rains. You empty it out and then refill it. That's why the kelim that usually table dishes in are very filthy, because they can't change the water and the water becomes stagnated. And if it's stagnated, then you can't clean it. Because once you filter rainwater and the rainwater goes through the filter, it's not rainwater anymore. What did you want to ask? What do you want to ask?
I wanted to ask you if you can sharpen knives and jackets.
No. Because you're fixing something,
It's already being knife.
but it's not usable. Now you're making usable.
What was the question?
Sharpening knives on Shabbos, you shouldn't
Sharpen.
You can't. Because you're making it better, you're fixing it more. You're not allowed to sharpen knives on Shabbos.
Clean your glasses with the liquid.
What does that have to do with mikveh?
What the knife has to do with sharp.
Because now you're talking about fixing something, so you can't table dishes because you're going to fix something. Okay, next. That's not necessarily good for kelim that need a biblical mikveh. Okay, next. But Moshe, even kelim, let's say you have a wooden keli. Okay, but if there's metal on it or anything, then you would need to be tabled. Now, what happens like synthetic stuff, like plastic or other synthetic materials? So many poskim hold that you don't have to table it. For instance, plastic, in technical halacha, you don't have to table it. Our minhag is to table plastic. Those that make a bracha when they table dishes don't make a bracha when they table plastic. But our minhag is to table hard plastic.
Why?
Because it's a keli, it's a shalan, synthetic materials. Some poskim hold synthetic materials need to be tabled.
Silicone, it could be like bendable, but it's still hard. It's like
No, we're not talking about, we're talking like, what do I mean, these plastic cups
Yes.
that you drink water or soda in. Okay, but those don't have to be tabled.
It's something that you keep. When you say hard plastic, it's something you keep.
If it's hard plastic, they even Tupperware or those containers that you put food or store food in, our minhag is to table them.
No, my question is the silicone is the same thing.
Synthetic materials, they talk all about these materials, synthetic materials. Our minhag is to table them. And those are tabled with a bracha. Normally, we table this without a bracha. What? Yeah. It's unofficial minhag. Our minhag is to table hard plastic that you reuse.
So like those cups for cold water or whatever.
No, the ones you drink, throw out. No, it's in hard plastic.
No, that's not the one you take to the gym. No, those are the
Those we table, yeah.
Those are probably metals. Inside the
There is metal and there is plastic.
Yeah, but again, wood that doesn't need to be tabled, if there's metal in the wood, even part of the wood, then you need to table it.
No, I'm saying the cup is just plastic. You need to
Only plastic from beginning to end? Sometimes they have glass inside to make it.
plastic.
Anyway, our minhag is to table those things. Again, even those that table with the bracha, table without a bracha.
Why not wood?
Because Shulchan Aruch says it doesn't need to be tabled. Some do, some don't. What can I tell you?
We cover the wood, no?
Table wood? No. Wood we don't table. It says clean halacha, you don't have to table it.
What is not just have a mini, but
No. What do you mean a Lubavitch minig?
like for metal.
What's the definition of a Lubavitch minig? No. No. Definition of Lubavitch minig, the Rebbe said, either it says in Sefer Minhagim, says in Ayim Yom, or the Igris or something like that. That's a Lubavitch minig. Everything else that people say is a Lubavitch minig is befeirish not a Lubavitch minig.
So why do we say it comes out?
The reason why a lot of people don't make a bracha on tefillah, because the question is, maybe the company is owned by a Jew. And if the company is owned by a Jew, then you don't have to table it.
Even though it wasn't made by a Jew?
That's again, if the Jew owns the company, it's another issue. Because then it's his keli, he owns it. The Jew people are just working there. So then it would be an issue if you'd have to table it or not. There are a lot of people don't make brachas, I can't tell you.
If you hold it up and then you realize there was maybe a small sticker or a glue.
Okay, we're going to come to, you mentioned it, we have to go down my when you table a keli, just like when a person immerses, it has to be completely submerged at one time. So if there's a sticker on it, so then that part of the utensil is not getting covered by water because the sticker is blocking it. So you have to table it again. If it's a little bit of glue, a little sticker, you have to take it off and retable it.
Does it go like that?
Huh?
Like the stickers at the bottom of the mug, a 99-cent mug.
It's not tabled, it's not totally, Vaad Rabbonim still have to, even by a person. What? What?
Is something it says if you had even less than an olive size of dough and you immerse it, then it's valid. Wouldn't that apply to the sticker?
What?
It says if you're immersing, something for Passover, like a bowl, if there's less than an olive size of dough or chametz on the bowl and you immerse it with a small piece of dough, the immersion is valid.
If the chatzitz is less than a kazayas.
No, that's not what the Gemara is talking about. Sorry. It's not.
So if there's a little sticker left.
You have to take off the sticker and retable it.
How much of it has to be left in
What?
there? How much of it has to be left? It's still like some residue. It's not.
You have to take it off. Especially if you don't feel it's kelim ben atayra, for sure you have to. In any amount, it's like koshering, we learned, technically I can kosher a half a utensil at a time. To kosher from treif to kosher with hot water or whatever. I can do a half and then do the other half. Tefillah, the whole keli has to be submerged in the water. If one drop of the keli is out of the water, it's not a good tefillah.
So you need to, if you hold it, you have to drop it home.
Huh? You have to let go for a second. There is an opinion that if you table your hand first, till here in the mikveh, and then when you're holding it loosely, even if you don't let go, it's also good. But the meaning is to let go for a second.